Alright, how it started and how it ended. Let me show you how I made these self-rising casters. So I got the idea to do this for the Mega Table Saw Workbench that I'm building from Shop Nation. Now this is the coolest and most complex thing I've ever tried to build, and the instructions are like 10,000 pages long. Luckily they're super detailed, and I really just took this like a big Lego set, and taking it one step at a time made it actually manageable. Now the original plans call for self-leveling casters, and while they look really cool, all I could do was picture myself having to bend down and adjust all four sides of this all the time. Not gonna happen. Instead, I took inspiration from my close buddy and his table saw workbench that he controls with some hinged casters and a foot pedal. Now there are a ton of great videos out there on how to do this and tons of different designs. But I had a couple of limitations. One, I have a small shop. Two, I needed to be able to do this quite easily, and I didn't want it to be a hassle. Going against my instinct, I went with 3-inch casters that I picked up from Lowe's and was not thrilled with them. They didn't glide well, and seeing as though the table saw wasn't even on the bench yet, I knew that was going to be a problem. They had to go. Plans for this bench call for a table saw, a router, and even a compressor if you want. There are tons of cabinets, and just imagine those all being filled. It's going to be heavy. Keeping all that in mind, I went full 5-inch casters. And yeah, I wish I could just go down the street and get it from Lowe's or Depot, but picked these ones up from Amazon because it was like half the price for 4 of them. So they came with all the hardware, the screws, the washers, everything you really need to get going with them. It was a really good deal. And since I finally decided on the design I wanted to do it up nice. So set my stop block, made some nice even cuts. I don't know why my T-track amazes me so much, but it does. Totally recommend doing it. It's just my favorite thing I've added to the shop. Yes. So, measured out where you want them to go. Pre-drill. Goes right in. Nice and solid. Gotta love my Ezark countersink set. Another favorite purchase. Get that loaded up. Now I know no one's gonna see this, but I'll know it's there. So, countersink, countersink, countersink. Nice and smooth. I can't recommend these enough. Alright, so got those fitted in, and then I realized that I really didn't size this up for 5-inch casters. So, had to really think about how I wanted this to go. Would I live with it? Maybe, but at the end of the day, it just wasn't right. So I had to make that tough call and adjust. I had to make the top lever longer so it had more leverage, and I had to add some height to the bench. So I went and got a 4x4 block, cut it up, added some legs to each end, and that solved the problem. A lot less leverage needed to get this bench up. Then I said to myself, how can I make this more complicated? You guessed it. I wanted to be able to raise and lower this, not with my foot, but with my drill. Once again, my buddy came through for me and came up with this prototype where we could attach some threaded rod to some hinged blocks, then use my drill to raise and lower each side. The idea behind it was I get 3 blocks and hinge them up, use the threaded rod with a pre-drilled hole to raise and lower the casters with a series of, stop washers and all sorts of fun. Hinging them up was no issue at all. It really was the easiest part in this whole process. And I was really hoping this was going to work. But much like other things that look great on paper, it really didn't hold up. Number 1, it took forever. Number 2, the tension was out of control. It was noisy and could easily double as a finger smasher. And around this time, I happened to stumble across a video about linear actuators. This led me to another idea. By the way, if you haven't had AI generate blueprints over an image, oh my god. Once I knew I was going to go with linear actuators, I started scouring Amazon and settled on this one here, which I will link below. It was a good deal. It was about $50 and I had to buy 2 of them. Like the casters, came with all the hardware. Perfect size for what I needed. I also had to buy the power supply separately because I didn't want to deal with a large battery. This worked out just fine. Does power 2 of them, by the way. Comes with a plate for the switch, wiring diagram, little knobs for the switch, some spade connectors, and the toggle switch itself. Which, because I bought 2 of these, I have 2 of. But I figured, you know what? What if I break one? It's good to have an extra. You know, it'll probably sit in a drawer for the next 10,000 years. So it was very easy to connect up. The spades just slide right on. I ended up buying some spade separators so I could connect both actuators to the same switch, and that worked out well. I will link those below as well. They were a little snug, but you know, you get them on and they fit great. So I went with the power supply because I did not want to deal with a battery. And there was a lot of question in the comments when I ordered this about whether or not it could power 2 actuators at the same time, and I can confirm that it can. You can see the speed of this is a little slow. I prefer it that way. I'm worried about things breaking, so I'm going to keep it that way for now. You can buy adjustments, and you can hook other things up to this actuator to make it go a little faster. And I'm sure they work fine. I'm just not interested right now. If I do get one, I will post a follow-up video. It's not too loud either. So now that I got the actuators and I remeasured what the foot levers were going to be, I wanted to get 2 clean boards and cut off the rounds, as I tend to do often, and really get them looking nice and clean. And speaking of clean, we clean as we go here. Not really at all. I'm really horrible with this. So I wanted to make sure that I had a nice solid area for the actuator to sit in, and at the same time it looks really cool. I had to notch out little slot here on the top of the lever. Then a funny thing happened. I discovered that I really enjoy routing out little slots of wood on larger boards. Yeah, this was really zen for me for some reason. I don't care why. It made me feel good and I enjoyed doing it. Measure once and cut twice, right? Well, no, I was very cautious with this, and I purposely didn't do it all the way because I knew I would have to extend it. So just wanted to make sure I got it as close as possible without going too crazy, not having to redo the whole thing all over again. But once I got it in, my God, this was so smooth. It worked exactly like you would imagine. One of my favorite quotes, behind every great man there is a woman rolling her eyes.
What's the point of that?
And though she was stunned in the face of such fine craftsmanship, easy there, retired 50-year contractor in the comments, and she did wonder how it could get any better. Started with a fresh, clean blade on my Ryobi barrel grip jigsaw, and got to cutting. Now, admittedly, I am not the best with my jigsaw, but you know what? I didn't really care as much. This is for me. And in my mind, I just kept telling myself that if it really gets messed up, I'll do it again. You know? Yeah, it stinks that I waste the wood, but I'll always find a use for the scrap. I have plenty of cleats I could make. I also came across a really cool sheet of plywood with a nice pattern on it, and I'm going to be using that for most of the cool features on this bench. Now again, you see lots of cool things on different videos, and I was going to go with magnets to hold this in place, but I really didn't want to deal with any vibrations knocking it loose and having to deal with that while I'm making cuts. So screwed it in, and it is very easy to remove if needed. Overall, I couldn't be happier with how this all turned out. Everything kind of worked as I envisioned it, and I'm really proud that I was able to make it a reality. I highly recommend these actuators. They really do a cool job, and I kind of look forward to doing them with some other things too. Now, as I had intended, this whole table saw workbench is able to slide into place of my other bench that can fold into the wall. Despite my best efforts, I got it in place, and it was too deep. Yeah, I have to take it apart. Hope you enjoyed watching this build on these linear actuator casters. Every piece of equipment you see in this video is in the description, and everything you see in this video, from the French cleats to the miter station to the foldable wall bench, all began because of a corbel. Check out some of my other videos and stay tuned for more on this mega table saw workbench. Lots more to come on this. I'm nowhere near done, especially now that I have to make it thinner. Subscribe down below and come along for the journey.